you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
Right now, a historic moment. We can now project the winner of the presidential race. CNN projects Donald Trump wins the presidency. The business tycoon and TV personality capping his improbable political journey with an astounding upset victory. Donald J. Trump will become the 45th president of the United States, defeating Hillary Clinton in a campaign unlike anything we've seen in our lifetime. Donald Trump wins the presidency of the United States. He is now going to be called President-elect Donald Trump. He's walking up right now. You see him right there. He's going to be speaking momentarily. He's got his wife there. History has been made. Jake, this is a moment a lot of people are going to remember.
All the boys for Trump yelling mega. All the girls for Trump yelling mega.
Yeah, we got to be careful about that soundbite. Good. Hold on. Here we go. All right. There we go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio. Your host, Brian Smith, giving you the morning update. Doing a real quick sound check. There we go. Sorry about that. Morning update with Smith Radio. Follow us on Twitter at Smith Radio, SMYTH Radio. We've got a lot of longer length videos on Facebook. If you go to facebook.com/Smith Radio, and then our entire show can be heard either on Spreaker.com, and I created a shortcut there for you. Just go to our website, smithradio.com. Top of the website, there's a button that says live. That'll take you right to our Spreaker page live when we go live, either during the week in the morning or on Sunday evenings, which is our 3-hour show. That's a wrap up. It's the weekend show where we put everything together and just really lay it out for you. So that's Sunday evenings, 5 to 8 p.m. And you can also find us on iHeartRadio if you like to listen to us on the go. There's also a button at the top right of the page. It's a red button that says iHeartRadio on smithradio.com. And just click right there and it'll take you directly to iHeartRadio. And if you're on iHeartRadio on your phone already, just search Smith Radio. I believe it's 2 separate words, SMYTH space radio. If that doesn't work, put it together. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. This is absolutely incredible. The soundbite that you just heard me play, that's just so exciting. We are 2 days away. The conservatives all around the internet and all around the social media networks are just blasting out every minute, every day, all day long. I was up, staying up all night long to give you guys the details and the headlines and the news and everything that happened last night while you were sleeping. And while you were sleeping, Sheriff David Clark was tweeting out at 3:00 in the morning, all excited about 2 days away until Donald J. Trump is sworn in, and the inauguration happens on Saturday, the 20th. We're just, I mean, it is right there. And I can't say enough. I'm overwhelmed. I'm excited. We here at Smith Radio had a lot to do with the campaign, meaning we were out on the trail. We actually did, Kerry Smith, my co-host, he did a lot of the on-the-ground footwork with the campaigning, door-to-door type campaigns. Kerry and I both went to many events and broadcasted about those events. And matter of fact, I even periscoped one of the Trump events down here in downtown Cincinnati, which was absolutely incredible. So it was good times. And all these events that we've ever been to, compared to the events in the past, I have never seen a more diverse crowd of individuals than I have at the Trump rallies. White, black, young, old, children, young teenagers, not old enough to vote, and then a whole lot of 20-something-year-olds, college students, middle-aged folks, young. You could see young parents with young children, maybe early 30s, and then you saw a lot of older folks, a lot of retired veterans, a lot of older veterans, I myself, United States Air Force veteran, and Kerry Smith, a Marine Corps veteran. And this is what we call Military Veteran Radio Talk Radio. And we come to you from a military background and a little bit of a different perspective. So I guess the big story, well, there's a couple of big stories that went down last night. Before I get to Marc Lamont Hill referring to individuals of color voting for Donald J. Trump, referring to them as mediocre Negroes. Before I get to that, on CNN, this is what perpetuates the race, folks. It's black individuals who are perpetuating race. You've got to stop the hate and you've got to stop the race. That's how we stop it. We played a sound clip of very famous black actor speaking out about, here's how we stop racism. You stop calling me a black man and I stop calling you a white man. And that's really how it has to be. But we've spent the last 8 years under Obama as literally the most decisive, the most racist, the most dividing and divisive president I think we have ever had. And I know a lot of people voted for him back in 2008 saying, oh, good, thank goodness. Race relations are now going to be perfect. No, folks, if you listen to a radio show on Sunday night, I gave out some statistics from, I believe it was an ABC poll that showed the difference between 2009, and the poll was taken in 2009 and asked about race relations in 2009 and then asked about race relations in 2016. Literally in 2009, 62% were good, said everything was great. In 2016, 33% said everything was good and okay. And that 60% was worse. And it literally, it flipped. In 2009, it was 62 to 30. In 2016, it was 30 to 62. It's just absolutely, Obama in 8 years has flipped the race card and flipped this entire nation back. He has set us back in race relations. The first half black, half white president with ties to Africa and specifically Kenya. Born in Hawaii, Hawaii, born in Hawaii through Kenya. And the AP put a story out actually yesterday saying what has the first U.S. President with ties to Africa done for Africa in 8 years. And I don't need to read the piece because I'll tell you what he's done. Absolutely diddly squat. He's done absolutely nothing. He's done nothing for any country to make them better unless you're talking about Saudi Arabia and Iran. Saudi Arabia's gotten better. Oh, Egypt and the Muslim Brotherhood have gotten better. All the military weapons, all the F-16s and the millions, hundreds of millions of dollars he's given them. And then the Iran deal with the hundreds of millions of dollars. And then unmarked bills and pallets of unmarked. I could go on. So what has he done good for any country? I don't know. Look at the one that he governed over. Yeah, not much. It's been pretty bad. So I'm not going to get, let me touch on this. Before I get into the race baiting thing, let me touch on this thing with Chelsea Manning. Who? Right. I know. When I saw it, I said, Chelsea? What? Chelsea? Is that Hillary's daughter? Man, who's Chelsea Manning? Right. His name is Bradley Edward Manning. And that rung a bell. He was in the United States Army. And this is from Wikipedia, and this kind of lays it out real quick. Chelsea Elizabeth Manning, as she likes to be known as, was born Bradley Edward Manning in 1987, is a United States Army soldier who was convicted by court-martial in July 2013 of violations of the Espionage Act and other offenses after disclosing to WikiLeaks nearly 750 million classified or unclassified but sensitive military and diplomatic documents. Manning was sentenced in 2013 to 35 years imprisonment. Possibility of parole after the 8th year. He was to be dishonorably discharged from the Army. Manning is a mentally, I'm interjecting this, mentally unstable individual who says that he is a trans woman. Okay. A lot of psychologists who are real psychologists and that are down to earth and grounded know that this transgender, this trans thing is a mental disorder. Psychological mental disorder. And our society is perpetuating it to being a way of life, an actual way, an acceptable way of life. The suicide rate is just unbelievable in this community because it is a very unstable mental disability. Anyways, I digress. I go on. So refers to himself as a trans woman who, in a statement the day after sentencing, said she felt female since childhood. So apparently he was abused at childhood to develop this mental disorder. And that's just me putting that in there. I'm not a psychologist. However, I do know a lot about human development. I've studied it. I know a lot about the human psyche and the way that people operate and work. And I'm telling you right now, dollars to donuts, he was psychologically and possibly even physically abused as a child. But he wants to be known as Chelsea, and desired to begin hormone replacement therapy ASAP. From early life through much of her Army life, Manning was known as Bradley. She was diagnosed with gender identity disorder while in the Army. Assigned in 2009 to the Army unit in Iraq, and this is important, folks, as an intelligence analyst, Manning had access to classified databases, and in early 2010, she leaked classified information to WikiLeaks and confided this to Adrian Lamo, Lamo, an online acquaintance. So apparently he was talking to somebody online that he thought was a friend. Well, that friend happened to be an informant and told the Army counterintelligence, and Manning was arrested in May that same year. The material included videos of the 2012, July 12th, 07 Baghdad airstrikes and the 09 airstrikes in Afghanistan, 251,000 diplomatic cables, 482,000 Army reports that became to be known as the Iraqi War Logs and Afghan War Diary. Much of the material was published by WikiLeaks or its media partners between April and November 2010. Okay, just real quick. There were 22 charges against him. He pleaded guilty to some of them. One of the most serious charges would have resulted in death, but they plea bargained it down. In the end, he did wind up going to trial for some of the charges and was convicted of 17 of the original charges and amended versions of 4 others, but was acquitted of aiding the enemy, which could be put to death for aiding the enemy. Was sentenced 35 years and maximum security at Fort Leavenworth. Okay, here's the bottom line. Bottom line is some individuals believe that what he did. Where's that at? Okay. One of the biographers that writes that the leaked materials, particularly the diplomatic cables, was widely seen as the catalyst for the Arab Spring that began in 2010, and that Manning was viewed as both 21st Tiananmen Square tank man and an embittered traitor. Reporters Without Borders condemned the length of the sentence, saying that it demonstrated how vulnerable whistleblowers are. No, folks, he is not a whistleblower. He stole government documents and he gave them to WikiLeaks. I know Edward Snowden did the same thing. I'm not making excuses for either one of them. They both did a bad thing. Now, obviously, Edward Snowden is still somewhere in Russia in exile. Bradley Manning is here in America and was in the military. I almost refer to this. I want to separate this a little bit. Edward Snowden was it's like a GS, like a general service person, like a contractor. So it wasn't technically, he wasn't in the military. He was contracted out. Manning was a military member. Being a military member, in my mind, and y'all may be screaming at me and thinking that, hey, what's this guy coming? In my mind, if you're in the military, you're first and foremost, your duty is to your country, is to your troops. They're the guys that you work with. And just like Bo Burdog giving away secrets to the Taliban, to ISIS, on where to bomb our bases over there to kill military members. I just cannot wrap my head around pardoning someone like that. So yesterday, President Barack Hussein Obama commuted the 35-year sentence, which he would have been able for parole in 8, but commuted it just days before leaving office so that he would only serve a total of 7 years of confinement, dating back to his arrest by military authorities. So he will be freed on May 17th. Oh, is scheduled to be freed on May 17th. That's already been passed. Oh, 2017. So he'll be freed within 6 months, 5 months. I don't know what to make of it all. I don't understand where Obama's coming from. Obama's also slated to release 18 more Gitmo detainees that we absolutely know are attempting to return back into the war on Christians, the war on the West, the war on the world, where Islam is making a valiant attempt to take over the world and enshrine it in Sharia law, where the entire globe will be covered by a curtain. I mean, literally, that's what's happening right now. So, as Obama goes down, as absolutely, there is no doubt in my mind. I mean, Jimmy Carter couldn't hold a candle to this guy as being the absolute worst president we have ever had in American history. Literally worse than FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, our first, not our first, but our most openly communist president, with his own new Bill of Rights, his own new constitution, rewriting of everything. This is even worse. Obama certainly has ties, relations, and alliances with other entities, whether they be Islam, whether it be the Brotherhood, whether it be communism. I know we've talked about this before on the show, but it's just real quick. I've come to to see that communism and Islam are one and the same. They're not too far from each other. They're just shades of gray. Communism, the government is the almighty, the ruler, the dictator. They own it all. They have it all the rules. You follow them. They will take care of you from cradle to grave. Communism. No religion. When I say no religion, that's air quotes no religion, because the religion, the worship is of the government. Islam, identical. Just don't even think about religion right now. Islam, identical. They own it all. They have it all. It is all theirs. All the rules, all the regulations, everything is set forth for you to follow. And if you do not, you will be punished. They are the controlling entity of everything of life. They are the religion. You worship the government, which is the government of Islam. Islam, communism, same thing. You get the same results, really. You have a few people at the top controlling everybody and everything. All the money, all the property, all the rules that benefit them, all the rules to keep the people in line. Literally zero freedom whatsoever. So for those of you, the progressives out there, we're going to progress to a better world. No. That word progressive will get you there. That's the progressive bus on the road to communism, on the road to Islam. You've really got to pull your heads out. I'm serious. I've been seeing this all over Twitter, and I'm blown away by these left-wing, crazy nut job snowflakes that just can't. They're believing. I mean, they had to have been taught these things, because the stuff that they say is just absolute insanity about wanting to progress to a better world. Folks, we had a great world. We had a really, really good world. We need to get back to that. Smaller government. Give the power back to the states. Give the states to give the power back to the people. That's where it's at. Personal responsibility for yourself, for your family. Not beholden to the government. You have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, not the right to happiness. You've got the right to pursue it. And that's here in America. Nowhere in America would any, name one other country that any Jew, black person, white person, any Mexican, anybody in this country, name one country where they would be better off. Where they would have more freedoms, more opportunities. Name one country in this world where anybody in America could leave and have a better way of life far beyond what you can accomplish here in America. Thank you. Case closed. That's it. All right, let's get into the... Since I'm slipping down that. Oh, real quick, Elizabeth Warren calls for the exoneration of Ethel Rosenberg. Yes, I know. Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were United States citizens who spied on the Soviet Union, tried and convicted and executed for conspiracy to commit espionage. I've looked into it a little bit. I don't know. This kind of stuff doesn't really, I don't know. It kind of gets boring to me, but Carrie's looked into it, and Carrie actually thinks that Ethel may have been innocent. The problem I'm starting to have, though, is that Elizabeth Warren and the left are screaming, and have been screaming for the last 2 to 3 years, for Obama to pardon Ethel Rosenberg. I know she's dead, but whatever. I don't know. It is a fact, though, that the information that they stole, that they spied on and gave to the Soviet Union, the USSR, actually did help them to create the nuclear bomb, the atomic bomb. So, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Elizabeth Warren is screaming for it, so I don't want it. I was going to leave it at that. And that's how you got to take some of the news sometimes. Look at who's saying these things and decide on whether their track record is good. Like Michael Moore came out and started screaming about something the other day. I'm like, well, I know it's Michael Moore, so I can't possibly be any good. That'll help you to separate things a lot quicker. Oh man. Okay, so let's jump into this. CNN last night was had some problems. This this guy who's an analyst for CNN, his name's Marc Lamont Hill, and I'm only telling you that he's black because he wants everybody in the world to know that he's black, and he holds a race card. That being said, he was on the show. There were panelists on the show, and he literally attacked the other panelists who were black for supporting Donald Trump. Yeah, it's no joke. Here's the sound clip. Let's go. Roll sound clip 1A.
So listen, let's move on and talk about something else. About Steve Harvey. And I'm going to get Mark, and then I'll get the others in.
Okay, just real quick. If you didn't listen to the show on Sunday, Steve Harvey had a meeting with Donald Trump last week. And Donald Trump wanted to bring Steve Harvey, the comedian, entertainer, into the Trump Towers and discuss with him some of the things that maybe he could help do to connect with the inner cities to help resolve the issues that we're having with the inner cities, which you need to get the Democrat, communist, Marxists out of the inner cities, and that's how you help them. But I digress. So that's what this conversation is all about. Steve Harvey, a black comedian who likes Donald Trump and accepted an invitation to Donald Trump to have a sit down and a talk that there's no audio, there's no transcripts of the talk. We just have to just assume it was a good talk. But here's this.
So, Mark, Steve Harvey went to Trump Tower and is taking a lot of backlash for a meeting with the president-elect. What do you make of this controversy?
I love Steve Harvey and I have respect for Steve Harvey, and I think his intentions were accurate or appropriate, rather. But my disagreement is the way in which he's being used by folk like Donald Trump. Again, his intention is just to have a seat at the table. But when you're at the table, you should have experts at the table. You should have people who can challenge the president at the table. I don't care if Steve's there, but if I'm Steve Harvey, I'm bringing Michelle Alexander. I'm bringing Cornel West. I'm bringing Imani Perry. I'm bringing Eddie Glaude. I'm bringing Michael Eric Dyson. I'm bringing some folk with me who can challenge the president and inform the conversation.
Okay, all the people that he just named off there are pretty much as racist as he is. So I digress. And you hear the moaning in the background, but here we go.
Otherwise, you're just being
Bruce,
trumpeted
why
up
are
there.
you saying, oh my God?
Let me real quick, because they keep bringing up comedians and actors and athletes to represent black interests is demeaning, it's disrespectful, and it's condescending. Bring some people up there with some expertise, Donald Trump. Don't just bring up people to entertain.
So you were at the meeting. You heard and saw everything.
I don't understand how anything I said would prompt that question.
Listen,
unless Steve Harvey turned into a policy analyst in the behind-the-scenes meeting, then it doesn't matter what I was there. I'm saying my concern was who the people he's trumpeting up and putting in front of the cameras.
Mark, you weren't even there. You don't even know what happened. Okay.
Okay. Yes, I do. Are you disagreeing that he brought down? Are you disagreeing?
You weren't in the room, sir.
How does
you weren't there.
How does that negate my point that he brought Steve Harvey and then put him in front of the cameras?
Let me tell you
That's my critique.
Here's the deal. You don't know what happened. First of all, Pastor Darryl Scott, Michael Cohen, they are in a process of bringing all types of people from all over the country, from all different backgrounds, like we have. Remember the Diversity Coalition, where we reach out to all different types of people?
It was a bunch of mediocre Negroes being dragged in front of TV as a photo op for Donald Trump's exploitative campain against black people, and you
Mark,
are an example of that,
how are you going to... So now you want to name call, Mark.
Simone, you better jump in if you want to talk.
Now you want to name call.
So the moderator's losing it, and he's asking the girls to jump in because he can't control the boys. Mediocre Negroes dragged out in front of the camera for Donald Trump's amusement.
Now you want to name call, and then you want to demarginalize.
Let me back Mark up here. Let me back Mark up here.
Simone has not spoken.
Let me back Mark up here because Mark's making an important point.
Mark is not making an important point. Mark is just talking.
Correct. Mark is not making an important point whatsoever. Other than the fact, if you read between the lines, Mark is making an important point in the sense that he is an absolute racist, hate-filled, hate-mongering racist. Just flat out. There is no other way to put it. For him to come off that hardcore and literally name call. He's name calling. He's calling out black Americans who vote for Trump or black Americans who want to go meet with Trump and somehow make America great again. And if they don't have the credentials that he thinks that they should have, they're mediocre Negroes. Whew. Wow. How about, I don't know if you folks know, but it's been a while since Magic Johnson has made the scene, if you will. But in Los Angeles, and if you live in Los Angeles, you know Magic Johnson very well because he played for the Lakers. But also, Magic Johnson has an entire conglomerate of a corporation with huge tentacles stretching far and wide that own huge chunks of property, huge chunks of land, that his name is all over it in the renovation of the land and the different cities, the inner cities, and to make the inner cities better, to do these things, do other things. Magic Johnson has done lots of good services with his money and his corporations, his businesses for inner cities. Do you know any policies that Magic Johnson has written or put together? I don't know. I mean, look at what famous people can do for children, like Michael Jordan. Take Michael Jordan, for example. What could Michael Jordan do, not being a policy maker or a senator or congressman or elected official? What could Michael Jordan do as a black, successful man, athlete, and businessman? What do you think he could do by going to an inner city? So I guess if Donald Trump calls up Michael Jordan to talk to him about different ideas and different things, and maybe to kind of reach out and see what would be a good angle to go at different things. I don't know, whatever they're trying to do. So you ask Michael Jordan what he thinks. And now apparently he's a mediocre Negro. Man, we got some problems on CNN. We've got some problems. Obviously, it's fake news, racist news. You got Van Jones back in the news. So just to recap this thing, Donald J. Trump's National Diversity Coalition, headed up by Bruce LeVell, who is black. He is Trump's National Diversity Coalition. And he responded, "You weren't even there." Let's just take that. That's true. He wasn't there. He doesn't know what Trump talked to him about. He doesn't know what the angle was. He doesn't know what questions he asked him, or even if he could help in any capacity. So it's a fact. So Bruce is a member of Trump's diversity team, and he calls out Pastor Darryl Scott and Mike Cohen. And they're in the process of bringing all types of people from all over the country, from different backgrounds, together. Okay, Pastor Darryl Scott. Is it because he has the word pastor in front of his name that he's not a mediocre Negro? Is that because he's pastor? How about Mike Cohen? Is he mediocre? I mean, are all these people just mediocre? It's this name-calling thing that the left does. That's what they do. The left name calls. They lost, they're losers, and they can't handle it. And all they have left is the name call. You guys have isolated. You've chased away the moderate Democrats. You've chased them away in droves. And now you're chasing away black Americans. Because now you're calling black Americans bad names. Racist, hate-filled names. Black, liberal, Marxist, communists that are Democrats are trying to control everyday average black Americans. And the way that they believe they control them is by calling them names, calling them Uncle Tom, calling them mediocre Negroes, bootlickers. That's what they do. They call you, they belittle you, and they berate you until you realize, oh, you there for the man. You there for the man. You're kissing up to the man. Look how good you got the man. Whoa, bro, you need to back off. There's no slavery in America. The only slavery is what you're perpetuating as a bully, trying to enslave us. It needs to stop, folks. It really needs to be called out at every angle. Every time it rears its ugly head out, it's just like that whack-a-mole. Every time those moles stick their head up, you take the hammer and you just whack them in the head. Just knock them back down. And that's the only way we're going to be able to stop this, is to literally whack the moles down. So, Marc Lamont Hill, you are a mole. And you're going to get whacked. Whack-a-mole. Oh, man. Okay, something else. This is the other thing about, who's that other, the knucklehead? Van Jones. Van Jones is an outspoken communist and was a part of Obama's team and was asked to leave because he was too far leftist, communist, outspoken, and they had to move him aside. And what they do, they send him to CNN. So this is what he said the other day. He said, on cable news, sometimes people expect some large horn to go off and prevent the person from saying whatever ridiculous nonsense they're saying. That's not how it works. So Van Jones is trying to shift himself as to being and this article by AP is trying to put Van Jones as the bridge between Trump and the leftist America. Which he is not a bridge a bridge maker or a connector. He is a divider. Divide and conquer. He's a racist. He is a communist. Flat out hardcore. There's no question about it. So he says Van Jones is now everywhere. And after an emotional but well-reasoned election night plea to America. Yeah, that's AP saying it was a well-reasoned election night plea. So you can't call Van Jones a racist for screaming that America voting for Trump was a white lash. Remember that, folks. He called it a white lash. Racist. Because he obviously is sadly confused at the numbers of minorities, Asians, Black Americans. They're all Americans. I hate to do this. I hate doing this, but they're making me do it. Asian Americans, Black Americans, Mexicans Americans, American Americans, all Americans came together to vote Trump in overwhelmingly. Hillary had her ass handed to her. It wasn't even close. The election was not even close. It was a rejection of Obama and the left's policies. It was not a white lash. It was an American lash against leftist communist and the attempted coup of America. We will look back in history and remember the 2016 election as America's second revolution, where we literally got a second chance at freedom. And I'm not... It's a fact, folks. You got to look into it and you got to see it for what it is. And that's how it will be laid out. I promise you, mark my words. So after his election night plea to America went viral, the CNN political commentator and former Obama administration advisor had become a de facto voice for progressives after a stunning November night. Yes, progressives. Again, progressives progress the wrong way. They're headed to a world where they have control. Not you, not us. They have the control. Whether it be a communist, whether it be a socialist, whatever it is, it will be more money in their pocket and less money in ours. That's still CNN. That's where that is. As we jump over real quick, this is a more of a positive note from the and I hate to keep saying from the black angle, but from the minority angle, because they've made it racist. Here are some great men, just happen to have a darker skin tone than me, that I absolutely love and adore, and they're the words of wisdom. And the sage from South Central, Larry Elder, made an appearance on Varney and Company. Varney plays a quick clip of Jim Brown, the famous Hall of Famer football player, plays a quick clip of Jim Brown with his interview with him, and then cuts to Larry Elder to talk about Donald Trump and the black community and what is going on right now. This is kind of to pull you out of the left's dirt and filth, how they want to just drag you down in the gutter. When they go high, we go. I mean, they go low, we go high. No. You had it right the first time. We go high, you go low, and you have taken to the gutters, literally in the gutter. And so here's Varney and Company.
And if our president does what he said he would do, then he will support American in its efforts. And the bottom line with American is it teaches people to be responsible for their own actions. And that is what all of our young human beings need out there. Not to blame anyone, not to blame the system, but to get up and stand up and contribute to their own development.
I love how, did you hear that? Our young human beings need. It didn't single out a race or a gender or anything. Young human beings. It's what they need.
And then we can, of course, help them.
You know that man, NFL legend, civil rights activist Jim Brown, on the show yesterday. He said people are responsible for their own actions, and they need to stop blaming everybody else for their problems. Larry Elder joins us, Salem Radio nationally syndicated talk show host. Jim Brown was reading from your playbook, or you were reading from his playbook, but you agree entirely, don't you?
Well, that's exactly right. Also, I should point out that Muhammad Ali, according to his biographer, said that he was going to vote for Donald Trump. So you have Louis Farrakhan also saying that Donald Trump deserves to have an opportunity. Donald Trump has met with a number of people. Look, the bottom line is this. Martin Luther King III is probably aware of the fact that if you picked up a magic wand and waved it over the hearts of white America and removed every smidgen of racism from their hearts and from their minds, the major problems still remain. Most notably, the fact fact is that 70% or more of black kids are raised without fathers. There's a 50% inner city dropout rate. A third of young black men have criminal records. And the number one cause of preventable death for young whites is car accidents. The number one cause of preventable death for young black men is homicide. And these problems will remain no matter how much racism you remove from the hearts of America. And so Donald Trump is doing something that no Republican has done in my memory, and that's go down to the inner city, talk about the breakdown of families, talk about the fact that black parents want vouchers to be able to take their kids out of bad, underperforming public schools and to give them a shot at a better school. These are things that are going to help the community far more than yelling, "We shall overcome" in the year 2017.
But any outreach from Donald Trump to the black community is met with extreme resistance. Just watch this for a second, Larry. This is Martin Luther King III at Trump Tower yesterday. He came out and just listened to the questions that the media stuck at him. Watch this.
We played this just the other day. This is unbelievable how this went down on the day after Martin Luther King's birthday, the holiday. This is what CNN fake news does to Martin Luther King Jr.'s the third, his son.
Were you offended by the president-elect's tweet that Representative Lewis is all talk and no action?
Isn't there something that just cuts to your core when you hear the president-elect refer to John Lewis as all talk and no action? I mean, nothing could be further from the truth. Isn't that right?
Now, we highlighted the questions there because they were clearly pejorative. They were leading questions. The reporters wanted MLK III to say, Trump's a racist. I find it astonishing that you get reporters, the media, charging like this against black folks. Go.
Well, why be surprised? We know the media are biased. We know the media believes that racism remains a major problem in America. Notice they didn't say, Mr. MLK III, under Obama, black poverty has increased. The so-called wealth gap between the average black family and the white family hasn't been this wide in 25 years. Don't you think Donald Trump has a plan to do something about that? Why wasn't that the line of questioning? Instead, the line of questioning was, isn't Donald Trump a bigot? Don't you feel Donald Trump's a bigot? And by the way, what are your thoughts about the bigotry of Donald Trump?
Well, I just want to know, when will Mr. Trump be more acceptable in the black community? Do you see that day coming?
Well, remember, Donald Trump already got a greater percentage of the black vote than John McCain did and Mitt Romney did. That's pretty impressive. I think once we start talking about 4% or so GDP growth and you find more and more black teenagers finding jobs and the labor force participation rate improving among black men, I think much of this is going to go away. And I predict that when Donald Trump runs for re-election in 2020, he'll get an even greater percentage of the black vote.
Fascinating. Larry Elder, thank you very much for joining us. We will see you again real soon. Thank you.
I agree 100%. It's absolutely what's going to happen. And they want to stop it because they know it's going to happen. They know that Trump is going to be wildly successful. That will be their nightmare. Their nightmare is going to be Trump's outrageous success with the black community, outrageous success with the minorities, outrageous success with the unemployment and the participation gap is just, it's through the roof. It's never, I mean, you're talking almost 96 million able-bodied Americans able to work that are not working. And there was a statistic that was put out, men alone, separated, just men alone across the board that are able-bodied that could work that are not working has never been this high since going all the way back to the Great Depression. It's astonishing and nobody's talking about it. We're talking about the food stamp king. The food stamp king would be Obama. The food stamps that are being handed out, they said that was like 60% of food stamps are spent on soda, Coca-Cola, chips and snacks and candy. I mean, it's just watch a documentary on the History Channel about Julius Caesar and why the senators cut his head off, why they killed him, why they stuck the knife in his back, why they had to get rid of him. because he was giving away the country, literally giving it away for free to get more love from the people. And it was the fall of Rome. And that's exactly where this is going. And it's got to stop. Absolutely has to stop. And so by saying it's got to stop, we voted Donald J. Trump into office to stop it, to halt this train going off the tracks, going down the wrong tracks, headed to a place that won't, the point of no return. Whether Trump can do it or not, it's just beyond me. I believe we're going to have at least the next 4 presidents. 4 presidents, 8 years apiece, 32 years, the next 32 years of Trump to get this thing back right around. I'm not saying Trump for 32 years. I'm saying 4 different presidents, 8 years apiece, to get this thing in a direction to where we can get a hold of. I mean, we're at $9.6 trillion Obama has raised our debt. We're almost at $20 trillion. I know it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but how about this? Obama has spent more money than any human being on earth in all of human history. Let that sink in for a minute. Obama has spent more money than any human being in all of human history. Fleecing of America. He has destroyed the inner workings of what America used to be. The Republicans up on Capitol Hill are putting together a package right now to repeal Obamacare. It's a beautiful thing what's going on up there because Trump's in power as a leader. I mean, technically he's not president yet, but his leadership it precedes him. His leadership is showing up. It showed up last month, and the Republicans are following his leadership that showed up last month. So they're attempting. I think they're trying to attempt to do it to save face with the public, so they can be reelected, saying, "Look, we did it. We didn't even need Trump." No. You needed the threat of Trump to come in and steal that victory away from you. But check this out. Trump is not that petty. He doesn't care who gets credit for it as long as it gets done. That's something Ronald Reagan said. He said that anything could be done as long as you don't care who gets credit for it. And Trump doesn't care who gets credit for it as long as America gets back on track. I'm not putting words in his mouth and I'm not making things up. This is what he's been saying the last year and a half on the campaign trail. Just listen to what he's taking for his word. He hasn't lied to us yet. He has not come up. He has not lied. And when people say he's lying, a lie is defined as knowingly and willingly telling somebody something that is not true. Trump has not. Nowhere has he not. And when people call him out and try and show that, oh, he's lying, the irony of it is, it winds up being true. It's just hysterical. I mean, they wind up with mud on. It happened through the whole campaign where they wound up with mud on their face every single time. Okay, check this out real quick. And I'm going to translate this for you, speaking about lies. This is Vladimir Putin. I'm going to keep it down low because I'm going to read it for you. I'll be your translator, but you'll hear him maybe mumbling in the background. This is Vladimir Putin about fake news in America, Donald Trump, and something referred to as Golden Gate. And this is Putin's press conference. This spread of false stories is obviously a hoax. Trump, when he came to Moscow, I can't even remember when. That was several years ago. He wasn't any sort of political figure. We didn't even know about his political ambitions. He was just a businessman, one of America's richest people. What? Someone thinks our special Secret Service chased after every American billionaire? Of course not. That's nonsense. Our media here was saying that Putin's Secret Service chased down Trump to film some event that happened in a hotel room that apparently turned out to be a huge hoax, and CNN ran with it. The story was all over the place, but no reporter wanted to touch it because they knew it was false and full of holes. So anyway, here he goes. Putin continues. Trump arrived and straight away rushed to meet with Moscow prostitutes? ? This is an adult man of all. Apart from that, he's a man. For many years took part in organizing beauty contests. He has socialized with the most beautiful women in the world. I find it difficult to believe that he ran to a hotel to meet with our girls of reduced social responsibility. Although here, also, we have the best ones in the world. Yeah. Vladimir Putin just said that Russia has the best prostitutes in the world. Is that a pitch for to get tourists to come over? I don't know. Okay, here he goes. But here's the point. That's the funny part. That's what everybody's reporting right there. That's the funny part. But here's what they're not going to report. Here he goes. People who order hoax of the kind that are now spread against the U.S. president-elect, who fake them and use them in political struggle, are worse than prostitutes. They have no moral limitations. He just called the media, CNN News, worse than prostitutes with no moral limitations. That's right. That's the part of the story that you are not going to hear. Nobody's going to tell you about that one. Real quick, we're running out of time. Democrat Representative Congressman John Lewis, the racist hating, claiming to be the first time he's ever boycotted an inaugural speech. Nope, that's an absolute lie. He also boycotted George Bush's. So there you go. Tucker Carlson interviewed a protester the other day. I believe it was yesterday, and it was unbelievable. He absolutely destroyed this guy. There was just nothing left. I don't think we have time. Do we have time for that? We have 58, 59? Okay. Oh, this is the protester set himself on fire. California protester sets himself on fire in front of the Trump
trying to light myself
tower.
on fire.
Why were you
as an act of protest? As an act of protest.
Protesting what?
Protesting the fact that we've elected somebody who is completely incapable of respecting the Constitution of the United States.
No. Right? I don't know. Man, where are these people coming from? Wow. It's lunacy. It's absolute and utter lunacy. And what they're doing is they're listening to the wrong people. They're listening to the CNN, the MSNBC, CBS, ABC. There are people on Fox News. We played some of the stuff from Shep Smith, who is officially out of the closet. Shep Smith had come out of the closet 2016, and the tattoo eyeliner is for real. That's just the way she likes it, and that's how it goes. So, folks, stay tuned. Listen to Smith Radio. We are here for you all over the place, 24/7. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook.com/Smith Radio, Twitter @Smith Radio, and a special shout out to Trumpocrats. at Trumpocrats on Twitter. Thank you so much for the help. Thank you so much for getting the word out about Smith Radio. We love it. If you like the show, like the episode, please share it with your friends and your family. This Spreaker episode is working out monetization. So if you hear a commercial, please be patient. It goes to support us because we literally do this for free.
Unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.